What kind of business owners will make millions and billions of dollars? It's those organizations and those individuals that understand competitive edge. Now, that's a very generic term, competitive edge. We kind of know what it means, but we don't really focus on the term. 10, 20, 30 years ago, competitive edge used to be 10%, 15%, 20%. Today, competitive edge is 1%. Better yet, 0.1%. When you watch a Netflix show and you want to rate the quality of that show, when you go to a restaurant and you want to rate the quality of the food and the service, when you buy a new product and you have to rate the quality and the usability of that product, in today's world, that experience is either great or terrible. If you don't believe me, just go online and look at all the reviews of the movies that recently came out. It's either a 5-6 something or a 9 something. But the better question is, in your experience, think about your own experience. What is the difference between a 9.1 out of a 10 score and a 9.8 out of a 10 score? What do you really look for when you think about an experience or when you think about quality of a product or a service? That's where that edge, that competitive edge comes into play when we talk about businesses and the consumer's experience with businesses. And that edge now is 0.1 millimeters. Not more, not less. One of the things that we all enjoy when we eat a specific type of dish is really the spice combination, right? So if you were cooking your favorite dish, it doesn't matter if you're cooking lamb or pasta or rice, how much spice it has, how much salt, how much pepper, etc., it has, plays a huge role on how that dish tastes, right? Let's just say you put 2 grams of salt and 2 grams of black pepper into your favorite dish. What happens if you put 3 grams instead of 2 grams? How much does the taste really change? And when the taste changes, how much does the experience of tasting that dish changes? It changes a lot. Now, we're all watching the Olympics that are taking place in Paris. And what do you think is the difference in the number 1 spot versus the number 6 or 7 spot in terms of timing with some of these competitive sports? Do you think that it's minutes? Do you think that it's seconds? Do you think that it's milliseconds? And you probably know the answer to this. It's milliseconds. The difference between a number 1 spot and number 100 spot is milliseconds. Now, what does it all mean in this competitive business environment? Now, of course, we can give 20 more examples, but what does this all mean in the hyper-competitive business environment? Basically means that the edge that you're looking for to really dominate a marketplace or to beat your competition is 0.1 millimeters. It's not a huge difference. So how do you really gain that competitive edge? It sounds simple, yet it's not that easy. How do you gain that 0.1 millimeters of better in your own service, product, business so that you can beat all your competitors? Today, we're going to talk about that. And because we're Optimum 7, I'm going to give you 7 pillars to really build that competitive edge. 1 is your brand. I know, very generic term. What does a brand even mean? What does a brand strategy even mean? What's the difference between brand and marketing? These are questions that we get all the time. Brand is especially important because if you want to do big things, you have to build a big brand. Let's talk about a big brand, Nike. What emotion does Nike really drive if you think about it? When the TV ad starts playing or when you see a specific print ad from Nike, just do it. What emotion does that really trigger? And you probably know this, but it triggers motivation. Nike is a motivational brand. And the funny thing is that there can really be no questions about what motivation Nike brings to the table. The moment you see the brand, the moment you experience the brand, it's all about grit It's all about motivation. Yes, the majority of the message is around an athletic element, but the emotion is motivation. So what emotion does your brand create when you think about it? What emotion is behind your brand? What kind of experience is behind your brand? And is there even one emotion? And this is tough, because if you think about your brand, if I think about my brand, it's really hard to come up with one emotion. But if you can nail down that emotion, if you can nail down the experience that you want your customers, clients, consumers to have with your brand, and if you can nail it down to one emotion, you're already winning. That is the edge that we're talking about. Nike will be in business for the next 1,000 years unless they destroy that relationship between the brand and the emotion, which is motivation. So find that emotion behind your brand, find that experience, that relationship between your consumer and your brand, and that is your edge. That is your 0.1 millimeters when it comes to brand. 2 is marketing and marketing execution. Now, we've been having this conversation recently with the marketing team at Optimum 7. Can you have marketing without brand? We think so. You can do marketing without having a really, really firm brand. Can you have a brand without marketing? The answer is probably not a long-lasting brand. Marketing is required to really communicate the message, to keep your consumer, your customers, your clients engaged with your brand. The marketing message needs to be there. You have to have the right infrastructure for marketing, the right technology, the right campaigns. But marketing is essentially very important because you have to build that cycle. The cycle for marketing allows the people to be able to find your brand, your product, your service for the first time. That's what marketing does. Branding is what makes them keep coming back. So, if you want to have that 0.1 millimeters from a marketing standpoint, you must give your end user new perspectives on a weekly, monthly basis. Because we live in the age of 5-second TikTok videos, it is extremely important for you to communicate that new perspective, that 0.1 millimeters regarding what you have to offer. And we're not talking about futures here. Nobody cares about futures. We're talking about benefits. How do you communicate the benefits of your products or your services to your end user in an efficient manner on a weekly, monthly basis? That's your 0.1 millimeters. The perspective in marketing is your 0.1 millimeters. Optimum 7 is a business. I have clients. There's a studio here. There are 2 cameramen behind the cameras. Why am I taking the time to do this video to talk about marketing, branding, and the competitive edge? I'm trying to give you a new perspective. 3 is reputation, or you could say reviews. It's very, very important. Your brand's, your organization's reputation, your own personal reputation as the business owner is extremely important, because one unhappy customer, one unhappy client, one person that felt like they were burned by your execution or your product or your services, one person can destroy your entire brand in this day and age. It is extremely important for you to maintain that reputation. I'll give you an example. Again, Nike, right? What happens if I was a professional athlete and I was going to run a triathlon and I'm wearing a specific kind of Nike shoes that's brand new, and 2 hours into the triathlon, the Nike shoes really tear up and get destroyed? What happens? What happens if this happens 10 times in 1 week? How do you think this would affect Nike as a brand if all of these 10 people actually shared their experiences on social media? Your reputation is everything. The quality of your product and your service is everything. As a matter of fact, the quality of your product and your service and your execution is directly proportional to your marketing. Marketing is now your product. So if you want to gain that 0.1 millimeters in reputation, make sure that you prioritize the reviews and your customer experience. If they have a negative or slightly negative experience, you want to jump on that as fast as possible. Lose money if you have to, replace the shoes if you have to, replace the service if you have to, refund the money if you have to, and make that customer happy. That's 0.1 millimeters in reputation. Partnerships are especially important because it doesn't matter if you sell products or services, you have to do partnerships to be able to grow. At Optimum 7, we have partnerships with e-commerce platforms, we have partnerships with email automation platforms, we have partnerships with other agencies, and we have partnerships with specific brands who offer certain types of products like the cameras that we use. So why are partnerships so important? And it kind of comes back to reputation, right? Great business is done over a period of time. Nobody built a great business in 12 months. And when you talk about partnerships, you really talk about relationships. As you're building partnerships with other brands and with other technologies, let's say, you are really building long-lasting relationships. You have to take care of your partners. You don't want to change terms on your partners overnight. You don't want to really kill the partnership because you want to increase your bottom line or your KPIs or similar metrics. Because essentially negatively affecting one partnership, or as a matter of fact, destroying one partnership, means that you are destroying that side of your business. So if you want to really nail down that 0.1% from a partnership standpoint, you want to build a very attractive partnership program for your product. If it's for a product, you have to have a really attractive affiliate program. If you're doing any kind of B2B or service-based business, you have to have a really good partnership program where the 0.1 millimeters has to do with your value as a partner. And we always say a partnership has to be a win-win-win. So it's got to be a good deal for your organization. It's got to be a great deal for your partner organization. And it also has to be a great deal for the end user, for the customer client. If I had to really nail down that 0.1 millimeters, I would say weekly touch points with your partners. Really nail down that relationship. Go hang out with them, play pool with them, play golf with them, take them for drinks, take them to a happy hour, take them to dinner. But weekly touch points with your partners and partner organizations is that 0.1 millimeters that a lot of your competitors will not do. And never, ever screw your partners. Never screw your partners, because that's a long-lasting relationship, goes back to reputation. One bad apple from a partnership standpoint can kill your entire partnership program, as a matter of fact. I am not the first one to say this. The concept is very simple. Always look for and find better people. Talent is not easy to find. You always have to strive to look for better people, to find better people. And not only that, you have to have the internal processes to really help grow your coworkers, to help grow your team. Do you have weekly training sessions that you do? How much money are you spending on new technologies or updated technologies for your team? How much money are you spending on, or what resources do you have for outside, for external training for your team? How is your team really keeping up with the technology, and how are they really keeping up with the fast pace of today's competitive marketplace? What weapons, what arsenal are you offering them to be the best that they can be and to continuously grow? So, a very robust HR department where you are constantly looking for better people, a very robust training infrastructure where you're constantly on a weekly basis offering training programs, resources, money to your coworkers to grow and to be better is your competitive edge. Because if you interview 1,000 people, I'm pretty sure that 950 of them are gonna say, I want to work in an environment where I want to grow and learn constantly. 6 is your technology. What kind of technologies are you taking advantage of? Right now, AI is a big topic. Do you have ChatGPT Premium for all of your employees? If you don't have the edge. Are you using a marketing automation platform and using it effectively? If you're not using it, you don't have the edge. Are you on the latest platform regarding your industry? If you are an e-commerce business, are you on the most updated platform? If you are a construction business, are you running a CRM or a project management system? And which technology are you on? Or are you still running your organization out of Excel templates? If you are running your organization out of Excel templates, you don't have the edge. If your website is on Squarespace or Weebly, you don't have the edge. If you're running a multi-million-dollar e-commerce operation and your technology is an old version of Magento or WordPress WooCommerce, you don't have the edge. Technology is one of the few things that allow your organization to move faster. 7, and this is a tricky one, awareness. Now, most of you are gonna say, what the hell is awareness? Information does not mean awareness. You could be incredibly educated. You could read all the smart books. You could read all the most recent studies and blogs. That does not make you aware. Awareness really takes place with one thing and one thing alone, critical thinking. It's your ability to be able to look at various pieces of information and identify which ones are useful and which ones are accurate. Accurate really is the key word here, because if you're getting your news from traditional media, it's not going to be that accurate, because it really depends on the perspective of the side that you're watching the traditional news outlets from. Awareness really happens with that comparison. For you to be able to look at 10 pieces of information and from a statistical standpoint, to be able to identify what your outcome needs to be. If you're trying to make more money from that information, your awareness needs to shift to more return on investment basis. If you're trying to really move faster with that information, your awareness needs to switch to more technology and technological advancements. If you are trying to be more socially or environmentally conscious, then your awareness needs to switch to that perspective. So awareness is really about the outcome that you hope to achieve. And if the information is too overbearing, where you cannot really make an association or a difference in the types of information that you're requiring, and it doesn't really help you make a decision, then you're gonna go to an expert. And you get a lot of awareness from experts. And you are not gonna listen to 5 different people, you're gonna find one expert. I don't have 10 attorneys, I have one attorney. I don't have 10 CPAs, I have one CPA. I don't have 10 financial controllers, I have one financial controller. I don't have 10 CFOs, I have one CFO, right? So you just find that one consultant expert and you gain the awareness from following their lead. You have to be coachable. And being coachable is that 0.1 millimeter when it comes to awareness. And if I ask you to name me 10 of your closest friends, and if I asked you to name me 10 of your closest business associates, and that will kind of give you an idea of who your friends are and who you're associated with from a business standpoint, and if they are really leading the marketplace or if they are following the technology. That's your 0.1 millimeters. And those are the 7 pillars to really gain that edge in your industry over the next few years. But I will give you a bonus one. And this bonus element is extremely important nowadays, because this will make the differentiation between success and failure. And that is grit. If you truly want to have the competitive edge against anybody, you never give up. You never take no for an answer. You set your path, you set an objective, and you go for it. And that is your path. You don't look at other people and what they are doing in other paths. You focus on your path. and you nail down these 7 elements that we talked about, and you unapologetically chase those 7 elements and whatever it is you're trying to achieve, grit is the most powerful competitive edge that you can ever have.